What's up guys, welcome back to another 3000 GT video where we have both a cutout exhaust system and an AEM wideband gauge. But I did just get home from the gym. Let me show you guys both the gauge and the cutout. Here we have a cutout exhaust system. It's basically a 3-inch exhaust system. It turns it into a straight pipe, but it also has a valve right there which you can close and open with a click of a button. So of course the benefits to this is you're able to get rid of your cat, run a much less restrictive exhaust system. You're able to close it and open it based on your liking or based on where you're at. So if you're in a quiet neighborhood or if you're in your house and you don't want your neighbors to pretty much complain about having a loud car, I usually close this. So I do have this on the Evo already. I'll give you guys a sound clip right now, but this actually is super beneficial to a lot of people, especially if you want to keep your stock exhaust and you simply just want to add a cutout exhaust to be able to make it loud whenever you want. This is pretty much the best thing to do for you. So I did buy it used. I would actually recommend you trying to find one that's in working order. But if you do need it brand new, I did a link, an Amazon link in the description below for you guys to get it, and we're going to be installing that alongside the AEM wideband gauge. Now this car already sounds pretty loud because I do have an aftermarket downpipe and cat pack exhaust system on there. The only thing that's left stock on the exhaust system is the cat. Once you remove the cat and even make it into a straight pipe, that should make it louder, but once we open the valve up on that cutout, it should become even crazier. So hopefully it doesn't sound too bad. I'm sure it's going to sound absolutely gnarly because this is a really good sounding engine. It's something that I've been wanting to do to this car for the longest time, and well, we're knocking two birds with one stone today. ¿Por qué? Alright, so I'm currently walking over to my bank because he's charging me $200 to basically weld this cutout on. I would actually recommend for you guys to get this thing brand new because it is a universal piece, but since the previous owner had it on a different setup of the car, it's going to be completely different. It's more of a hassle for the welder to get it on there. So
hay libra.
Okay.
Ya nomás si una vez que le haga el pedazo de pan, que la apreté la voy a tiene un poquito así nada más.
Okay, perfecto.
No, es de estar así.
Sí, es mucha diferencia.
Mucha diferencia.
Okay, so we have the O2 bump for the O2 sensor. And then we have the O2 sensor on this side, and then we feed it through the bottom of the chassis. So we pretty much have it mocked up and ready to get welded. The only thing I've noticed is that this car does sit pretty low, and I don't know if this part of the cutout is actually going to hit on the ground. It seems to be the lowest part of the car, but we'll find that out later. We are going to try to manage to move this a little bit more, or if anything we could always cut it as well a little bit more just to make sure that we have more clearance.
I already push it up inside there.
Inside the carpet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Between the body and the carpet.
Full cutout, 3-inch. All we have to do now is wire up the cutout from the inside and we should be set. Exhaust sound with no cat, cutout still closed. Did notice that the cutout sits a little bit low. It sits about as low as the rear cat back, and it does scrape at times, especially under hard bumps. So I have a 30-minute drive to Mace Performance right now. I'll kind of keep you guys updated as far as how the cutout I guess we could expect it once we're at the shop and see how well it lasted with some freeway driving and street driving. 30 minutes of driving, the car only scraped a total of 4 times. Coming out of the driveway, going into a driveway, it did hit a little bit on a railroad track. So if you want to run a cutout to replace the catalytic converter, you are gonna have to be careful when it comes to scraping. Okay, so now we're gonna be hooking up both the AEM air fuel ratio gauge and the wiring for the cutout. It's pretty simple. Of course, you have your ground, your power wire, and these 2 wires are basically for the lighting. If it's super dark in the car, the gauge will light up, and if it's super bright out in broad daylight, basically the gauge will dim down a little bit. I like to have the gauge in a single brightness mode, I guess, so I won't be using these. All we have to do is tap into power, ground the gauge. I already hooked up the O2 sensor to the cutout exhaust system or rear O2 sensor that you have on your car, and this hooks up to the back of the gauge. As far as this, pretty similar. Of course, we have this that's going to attach to the cutout in the bottom. We have the remote, we have a ground, and a power wire that we have to hook up inside the car. So I'll be showing you guys how to do it. And I already did the AEM boost gauge. If you guys want to check it out, I'll go ahead and link it in the video description as well. I did want to mention that the AEM wideband comes with 2 sockets. One of the sockets right here is meant for the wiring, and the other socket of the wiring, which I have back at home, hooks up to this part of the O2 sensor. So to make it clear, this goes onto your rear O2 bung on whatever part of the exhaust it's on. This gets fed up through the chassis up top, connects to another connector, which then hooks up to the wideband on this side, and then this side is what connects to the wires on the radio. So that's kind of how a wideband works. After that, this is what's going to get your air fuel ratio, and this is of course just to make sure that you're not running lean or rich. So as you guys remember, we did tap in to the red power wire on the radio harness for the boost gauge. We're going to go ahead and cut this back up, hook it back up in there, and we also hooked up to the black wire on the radio harness. So we're going to go ahead and cut this and basically tap into that. Ground, harness of the radio goes all the way in, completes the circuit. Now we have 2 available ground wires. So one's going to be for the water temp gauge, which is coming soon, and the air fuel ratio gauge, which we have today. Cut the exposed wire. Test it. There you go. We have a working wideband. See right here. So when it comes to the cigarette lighter, blue is power and this black one here is ground. So we're going to splice into both of these. We just have to disconnect them from the cigarette lighter below this center console. And once we have that done, we'll go ahead and hook up the power and ground, and then route it back under the chassis to the cutout. It is wired to the cigarette lighter. All we have to do is hook up this piece of the wiring to the cutout on the bottom of the chassis. Okay, so the hole for the wideband and the cutout is literally right where your I guess left foot would be. I have the wideband sensor plugged in through here. I'm gonna go ahead and bring out this wiring and feed it back down that hole, connect it through the bottom, and test to see if the cutout is working. It is open. Alright, first startup, cutout open. this thing sounds super loud. Honestly, it might be a little too obnoxious for some people, but to me it sounds just perfect. It does give it a really nice turbo spool sound, and you do feel the ground vibrate right below you. The only downside to the Cutout, like I previously mentioned, is how low it sits. This car is lowered around 3 inches all around, so that could cause an issue if you're trying to do this to your 3000 GT. I did go ahead and link everything down in the video description through Amazon. If you guys do buy through that link, I also get a very small cut, so if you guys want to support the channel, I do appreciate that. Or you could just go ahead and buy it separately wherever you want. But the exhaust system is way less restrictive, and well, it sounds amazing. You guys let me know what you guys thought. So thank you guys for tuning in to another 3000 GT video. All that's left now is the AEM water temp gauge, and once we have that gauge ready, I'm gonna go ahead and put all 3 in the dash. So I will be showing you guys how to do that very soon. Hope you guys are enjoying the VR4 content. It's come a very long way, and well, I'm just glad to be able to document everything for you guys. So anyways, hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. See you next week's video.